are blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Hey, it's Beth here, episode 578. Okay, I saw The Substance. Demi Moore is incredible. She's fearless in this role. It's got a good premise. Margaret Qualley is good. The director is a French director named Coralie Farja. Okay, maybe that's why the movie doesn't make sense to me. Okay, French things never make sense to me. They're probably exquisite. They're probably incredible. The screenplay got the Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Screenplay. I just thought it was a little over the top. The prosthetics, the outfits they wore, took 5 to 6 hours to put on, 2 hours to take off. So I have to be respectful of all that. Okay? Demi Moore's going to be up for an Oscar for this movie because of this. There is one touching scene in the movie where this old high school guy she went to school with, who worships her, even though she's 50 and she's actually 61 and doesn't look perfect. And she sets up a date with him. She gets into this outfit. She looks magnificent. And she looks in the mirror and she can't stand the way she looks. She puts a scarf over her neck. She takes the outfit off, puts another outfit on. I mean, she looks great. For 61, acting like she's 50, she even looks great for 50 and she's 61. What more do you want, Demi? She tears the clothes off and rips up her face with her hands. And it's very moving, honestly, about aging, okay? So, there is all that. The storyline is The Substance, is this, on her 50th birthday, her agent, Dennis Quaid, who the scariest scene in this horror movie is when he eats these shrimp. Oh my gosh. Shell, fish eyes, everything, when he takes them off and puts them in his mouth, it's the hardest thing to watch. Worse than any of the prosthetics, anything that they come up with in this movie. This was horrible. He got the role from Ray Liotta when he died. So I don't know how Ray would have done it. He probably would have done a great job. But Dennis, and his name is Harvey in this movie, actually sells this. So he's probably going to get up for an Oscar for Best Supporting Role. Even though it was small, it was completely memorable. So she's offered The Substance. She's in this car accident when she sees a poster of herself being ripped up above her. She stares at it, has an accident. It's her 50th birthday. Dennis Quaid, after he eats these horrible shrimp, tells her she's fired because she's too old to be a Jane Fonda exercise person. Okay, she's in the hospital. Somebody looks at her backbone and says, "You're a candidate for The Substance." She's like, "What?" He gives her a card. She comes home, and after a day or so of eating and watching television, which I don't think is fair to say that 50-year-olds stay home and eat and watch television. That is more of a thing I'm doing in my 70s. So it's kind of looks ridiculous for her to be doing that, but that's what she's doing. Anyway, she does all that. She finally calls up for The Substance. It's this crazy liquid that you take, and out of your backbone comes another. It's like you birth a younger, better version of yourself. And Demi said that Margaret Qualley was a better version of herself because she was taller and she had blue eyes, and that's what she always wanted. So, okay, fine. I didn't buy it. Plus, there's a housekeeper in the beginning of the movie, and she never shows up again. The house gets perfectly cleaned every time they trash it, even the white carpeting. It took me out of the movie. Come on. Nobody can clean a carpet like that. We don't ever... So it was a continuity thing, was kind of weird. Neither one of them had any friends. Well, of course, the one coming out of her body was brand new. But Demi Moore doesn't have any friends, any neighbors, any ex-boyfriends, anything that wants to know why she's not around every other week. You're on a week, you're off a week. Margaret gets the job, and this Dennis Quaid person, when he's finished eating his shrimp and meets this fabulous creature, doesn't mind that she's gone for 7 days. and on for 7 days? That's not Hollywood. No way. So, just little things like that. I'm like, who's cleaning this carpet? Who is meticulously cleaning this house every time it gets trashed by Demi eating and watching television? That's not right. That's not what we do. We don't throw food around. We just eat it politely and maybe drink a glass of wine and then throw it in the trash. This is an Animal House. So I didn't like the way they portrayed the older woman. Rotten Tomatoes, 90% for the critics because everybody likes this French director, Coralie. Okay, and the audience, 73%. It only made $1.3 million in the first day, and they're expecting it to make tops $3 million for the whole weekend, so it's not a big hit. And the two of them are on the road all the time trying to sell this thing, to the point where Demi Moore told us that, and I just find this even weirder than making Ashton Kutcher your boyfriend. I don't see how anybody could live with that, Arrested Development guy. But this makes it make sense to me because she has a collection of 2,000 dolls. She also is in two things that are oversized. So she has 6-foot-tall scissors, and this is the part that's scary, an 8-foot-tall kitchen knife in her house. I don't know if Ashton saw that in Moran, but maybe a lot of guys would have. Then she's also into miniature chairs and miniature doors. I don't know if I needed to know that about her. She's had an incredible job done on her neck. I will give her that. She knows where to get work done, which is kind of funny because she's had a lot of work done, and this movie is about not wanting to do that. So it was a little bit hard, to get it going, to understand how you could be against something that you have done. And there's naked scenes, and there's fake boobs, and it's just like we're talking about not doing that in the movie, but we're doing that. It's kind of like I'm watching a movie about sobriety and people are drinking. So that one kind of kept me out of it too. But it's something people are going to talk about. Don't take any teenager to see this. The fake creature that develops when the two of them, the younger person cannot stop being the younger person inside her. They don't really share the same mind. They're supposed to, but they don't. The younger one gets all into herself and is squeezing the life out of Demi Moore, who gets older. Oh my gosh. And then they show her feet as they're aging from 50 to I don't know what. And the bunions show up. I'm like, oh my God, that was horrifying. That was horrifying. Okay. So then they turn into this creature that is like the two of them together. It's supposed to be scary. It is so not scary. And then we see like the glistening whatever on it, protoplasm, dries up in the second half of seeing this thing. And maybe that, I don't know what I'm looking at. It looked like they didn't spray it wet again. It just doesn't make any sense. It was not realistic ever. And it was 20 minutes too long, and it was 20 minutes too long with all of that. We should have seen it for 1 second, and then it would have stayed in my mind as something grotesque. Because I really wasn't breaking it down until I had to look at this thing for 4 minutes solid. I'm like, so what? Okay, there's Demi's head, then we roll over, and there's an eyeball from the other one. I'm like, I guess the crew, everybody's talking about how amazingly lifelike this thing looks that has never been in nature. And so maybe that crew that took so long to put it together was so enamored of it that that's why it's so long. It's 20 minutes of this thing at the end of the movie. And then it starts spraying more blood than any creature could ever have. Like it's just ruining it. It's breaking it down. I suppose it's going to be a big hit at middle school sleepovers. It doesn't have the heart of Carrie. You don't really care about anyone because they're not likable. No one is really likable. No one even has a cat. There are no dogs. No one knows any children. There's no scene with nature where you feed a bunny rabbit some bread. I mean, I'm waiting for anything. Give me a reason to care about you. They're just so selfish and absorbed in their own bodies. The only thing that really stuck with me was there's a poster, and it's in all the previews in every picture. There's a poster outside the big window of, Sue's house, okay? And so there's this big, the Sparkle girl, Elizabeth Sparkle and Sue become one person. Big, huge picture window. LA is in the background, pretty far away. And that is very telling because it's not something she can have. And there's this big poster of Sue, the young, beautiful version of Demi. And it's haunting. It's outside the window, this huge poster. It's very haunting to look at because it's like God looking down and judging society as immoral, kind of like in The Great Gatsby, and that the city is too far away. That moment stuck with me, and it meant something to me. So there was a kernel of something in this. I think people are going to be talking about it. It's an interesting concept, just like when Demi Moore was in that movie, The Indecent Proposal, would you or would you not for $1 million? This is kind of like would you or would you not for the substance. So when it comes to Netflix, watch it. But I'm telling you, the last 20 minutes. Okay, so what happens is this protoplasm thing gets smaller and smaller, and it ends up on her star, her Hollywood star, okay? Big deal. You don't need to see it going down the steps. You don't need to see any of it. Believe me. And it turns into blood just like this hamburger in the beginning of the movie. Okay, that's supposed to mean something too. Not worth it. I can't get those 20 minutes back in my life, and I don't want you to lose them in yours. So, yes, Demi's going to be up for an Oscar for this. She left it all on the field. It was fearless. And that was a very poignant scene. It was very touching that she couldn't walk out the door dressed as beautifully as she could be dressed because she was 50. That's just sad. And on a first date, I guess that's a thing. I mean, I haven't been on a first date in 49 years. So she did move me in that scene. Every time Demi was allowed to do something, she did it. She can act. She sold it. She wanted this to work. So sometimes people get Oscars for imperfect scripts, but they work so hard. So I think, and this movie is probably resonating in Hollywood on a level that I can't even imagine. But should we see it? I don't know. Am I happy I saw it? I don't know. I think it would have been just as good on Netflix. And I think if The Blob had been a little bit smaller, it would have helped me. It didn't need to be taking up the whole screen. It was oozy nothingness. It looked like that blob stuff that kids used to have. I didn't see the magnificence of this. And they are probably going to win makeup awards and creature awards. I mean, it just goes right by me. I don't understand monster things. So, and it wasn't great. The scariest part of the movie, I'm telling you the truth, is Dennis Quaid eating those shrimp, those poor, horrible shrimp. And the mayonnaise on his lip and the chewing of his teeth. Oh my God. I was spellbound. Another thing is, everyone was spellbound at this movie. No one got up to go to the bathroom. There were probably 30 people there. No one, not one person got up to go to the bathroom. We were all in shock. I'd say everybody was about my age. Demi Moore fans, I'm sure. Dennis Quaid fans, I'm sure. I don't know why we didn't get up. I don't know what kept me in my seat. I really don't. So maybe on some level, it was mesmerizing. I'll give it that. Entertaining? I can't give it that. Was there one clever moment? No. There was so little dialogue. This French director doesn't like dialogue. So the movie it's almost like a cartoon. So, Netflix at some time when you've got nothing else to do, or you're ironing, or you're making a stew or something, just don't give it 100% of your attention like I did. I want my time back. I want those 20 minutes I should have been chopping carrots, and then I would have been happy. It is definitely not, it's not going to be all consuming for you. So, take it for what it's worth. Demi did a good job. The nudity is disgusting, to be honest. It's just so sterile and horrible and sanitized and, what's the word? Oh, clinical? It's just so horrible that we're looking at these bodies like animal husbandry or something. Just, ugh. So, anyway, actually, I'm not over it. So, take it with a grain of salt. Do it on a day you're in a bad mood anyway. And it didn't help my sanity one bit. And I'll be back. Thanks.
They